call the meeting to order. Can I have a roll call, please?
Dogan,
Here.
Gorman,
Here.
Hurst, Marika, Pappas,
Here.
Ward, Watson.
Here.
We have a quorum.
And we'll go ahead and stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, and before we move forward with, excuse me, the approval of the agenda, I just wanted to take a quick moment to just address something. In the last couple months, we've had a couple very tragic losses in our district with some parents, community members, and some coaches. And so I just wanted to recognize that. I just wanted to let those who are affected know that our hearts and our thoughts are with the families and friends. And also to just kind of remind all of us that, during this season and during the holidays, just to cherish your loved ones, squeeze your kids a little bit tighter, and think of those that might be hurting. So with that, we'll move on to the approval of the agenda. Could I have a motion and a second to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
And all in favor?
Aye.
No public forum tonight?
Public comments? Okay.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for coming. And we'll move on to our consent agenda. So in our consent agenda tonight is our regular meeting minutes from November 17th, our treasurer's reports, our payment of bills, for Northern Kane County Regional Vocational System, our personnel report, our approval of a donation to CHS Girls Basketball Activity Fund, and approval of donation to our CHS Girls Soccer Activity Fund. So for this, do we need just because
It's just, 1 through 7.
one? Okay, so can I have a motion and a second to approve our consent agenda items?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
And roll call, please.
Hurst,
Yes.
Marika, Pappas,
Yes.
Ward, Dogan,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Watson.
Yes.
Motion passed.
And then before we approve, or should I ask for the motion a second first, and then we'll discuss?
Why don't you do that first, and then we can turn over to Dana.
For our final 2025 tax levy, could I have a motion and a second to discuss?
You want a motion for a motion and then a second, and then we can discuss it, and then they can vote.
So a motion and a second,
So moved.
Second.
and then
You could ask Dana what you'd like to ask.
could you just give a brief, just for clarification purposes, because I think there's some confusion on what a tax levy is and what it isn't.
And that's not at the board table. That was some questions that we had received last month, as well as for people who are watching the meeting.
So the tax levy is where we get roughly $60 million of our revenues that are included in our budgets. The levy covers 2 different fiscal years, so it'll cover we'll get the money in the spring and the fall. When you levy money, you have to ask for more than what you need in each fund, as you can only get the max amount in those funds. But you cannot, the law will not let you get more than what you're entitled to. So there are parameters there. So since last board meeting, there's been no changes to anything except for tentative to final. My assumptions still are what they were for new construction at the $24,200,000, and the EAB projection to be $1.2 billion. So the estimate still, because of a huge bond payment dropping off, there should be a decrease to your actual tax bills for the school portion. So the school portion is only one line item on your tax bill. So on your tax bill, you have your fire departments, your libraries, all your other taxing bodies, which they may or may not go down or up. I know the schools is the biggest piece of the bill. But according to if these predictions come true, we're anticipating our tax rate to go from $5.87 to $4.95. So it's almost $1. So it's 92-cent drop in their tax rate on that portion of your tax bill. And it all depends on your EAV of your home. So if your home value goes up, your tax may not be as big of a drop, but if your home value stays the same, then you will see a drop in your tax bill.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So the tax levy is a portion of taxes that we get as a school district.
Correct.
So have we ever not levied the full amount that we are able to?
No.
Thank you again. And can we have a roll call, please?
Rebecca? Pappas?
Yes.
Ward? Yes. Stoneman?
Yes.
Gorman?
Yes.
Hurst?
Yes.
Dawson?
Yes.
Motion passes.
Now we'll move on to presentation portion. Facilities report.
Good evening.
Evening.
Kind of a quiet room today. So just kind of an update, kind of where we're at on the facilities end and kind of some things that we've had going on here recently. Recently, we had an issue with the Prairie View boiler. That's going to require that boiler to be replaced. So I've been working with Dana on kind of getting that into the planning process and stuff. That's going to be roughly $100,000 replacement. Necessary evil, it's a boiler we've repaired in the past. They don't make them like they used to, all that same stuff. So that's kind of where we're at with that. And then over at Prairie Knolls, we've had some issues with their movable partition walls between the gym and the cafeteria. We've got some estimates to replace those. We're working on evaluating the need to have motorized movable walls in that location. So we're going to look at options, maybe put a permanent wall up, maybe not put anything, so we still have to work on those ideas, but that's about a $75,000 replacement there. So that one's still kind of in limbo. The boiler we're going to move forward with, but the wall we're still working on. And quick update, winter stuff. We got the holiday break coming up. As we all know, everybody else enjoys 2 weeks of a holiday, and our staff has lots to do. We have a lot of people utilizing that time for vacations because of the way the holidays fall. Can use a few days and get a lot of time off, so our staff's taking advantage of that. But we are going to get some projects done. We're going to get some flooring work done. We're going to get our deep cleaning done, filter changes, get all those normal things that we get done. We'll still get a lot of that work done in those 2 weeks. That's about it for updates. Now, the next thing is the track bid. We got some preliminary estimates. We've been working with our engineers and with Shales McNutt. We've got a conservative estimate on that replacement at $1.4 million. Our budget originally was $950,000 with some of the soil borings and just some of the things that we found necessitated a little bit more earthwork than we had originally planned. And again, that's a conservative bid. We don't want to under-guesstimate, so we're going to over-guesstimate. There are some other costs that we may be able to use, look at some of the purchasing co-ops and do some other things like that to decrease that cost. So we're reasonably sure we're not going to be over that. My recommendation is, and our recommendation of our partners, is to still move forward with the bid, try to get that out as soon as possible. Still a good time to get a bid out that we would start, after we work with Mike, we would start that project in May. So if we get that bid out soon, we can get that information back, and then I could bring that back to the board to decide if we want to move forward with it. Just because we bid it doesn't mean we have to do it. So if those bids came back crazy, or we decided we wanted to change direction, we could not move forward with the project. But my recommendation is we work really hard, we got drawings done, get that bid out on the street, get those numbers back, and then kind of go from there.
Dan, it might be helpful to know the scope of what we're looking at on the track. And it doesn't need to be right now, maybe verbally, but maybe something in writing to show the rendition, because there might be some alternates to this bid where we would need certain things done that maybe we might have a nice to have in there for future growth. I have that whole scope, and kind of just in a nutshell,
really the only thing that we could do that would be for future is there's a curb, concrete curb inlay for that inside of the track that would receive possible future turf. The caveat to that is that's also where the trench drain is going to go to drain the field. So even though that's a nice thing, we could maybe do away without the concrete, but we still need to do the drainage. So it's kind of a catch-22, but there really isn't any alternates in there that we wouldn't want to do. We're going to move the pole vault to the outside of the track, move the long jump pits to the outside of the track, because that makes the overall stadium usage better. Future projects would be obviously bleacher, the swap of the bleachers, and then fencing in that whole entire area. So in this project, the pole vault and the long jump pits would be outside the track, the discus would be inside on one end, and then we'd have long jump on the other end. So there's not a lot of alternates besides that concrete part of that curb.
Yeah, I was only
We
looking-
minimized.
I was only
minimized
asking
that.
because the 950, we originally then won for, that deviation's pretty significant.
Yep.
So we know the way it works with these guys. If they put in alternates and they all come in great, we can take them all.
Yep,
But if there's the absolute necessary, we need to have this for functionality,
Yep.
I don't know, because I'm not writing the bid. These
Yep,
guys know much better than I.
absolutely.
Yeah.
yep. And like I said, there's a lot of the equipment pieces and some of the other parts like that. We could look at some of the purchasing co-ops and look at some other purchasing options to kind of better the pricing. We literally got this pricing from one single source athletic supply vendor. So obviously we didn't price that out or look at other options, so.
Yeah, I have a couple projects going with SMC right now. They're getting lots of participation, bids are coming in under, so seems like a good strategy to get it out there and see what we get.
Right.
It's good timing.
So if we're all in agreement with that, that's how we'll move forward.
Sounds good.
Perfect. One other quick thing, I just wanted to take a minute. Our staff's been working really hard, and I kind of put together something just to kind of show my appreciation for our staff, and I just wanted to read it real quick. Good evening. I just wanted to take a minute to share some of the hard work and dedication that our buildings and grounds staff brings to our district. The weekend of Thanksgiving break, Mother Nature graced us with our first significant snowfall of the year, which required our staff to be called upon to deal with it. The event was the snowiest and fastest moving cluster since 1974. The event and additional events the weeks to follow had our snow removal team, which consists of ground staff, custodians, and maintenance team, work 13 of 14 days. This included multiple weekends, as well as early starts during the week, sometimes as early as 2 a.m., with them also completing their regular shifts after that. Yes, we all know this is part of our job and part of their job, but it takes them away from their families and loved ones, as well as that doesn't allow them to rest and recuperate over the holiday breaks and weekends, which those times are for. I bring this up as there's been multiple instances of appreciation shown to other staff over the years and most recently months where it seems our staff has been forgotten for what they provide the families, staff, and students of our district. I shared one recent weather example, but throughout the year, in years, our staff has been called upon to assist, supervise, set up, clean up, and support multiple events for our school community. The never-wavering support of and dedication of our staff needs to be noticed more than just on October 2nd every year. It would mean a lot if those accolades could come from someone other than Tom, Keith, or myself. Thank you, and as always, I will always say thank you to our staff for what they do every day to keep our district functioning for our students. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And thank you and your staff for everything that you guys do. All right, next up's our enrollment report.
Yeah, we just put the enrollment report. I know it was historically been done in the district, and so we just wanted to put in some information here for this report so that the board could see that. You know, I just did an overview, just an armchair quarterbacking overview, and obviously we know that we're functional capacity-wise, we're pushing it in a few of our buildings. We're under it in a few. But, if you look at the RSP projected, that's our demographer, that's our demographic report. And honestly, those of you that have been on the board before have seen this enrollment report come. We've had a couple of buildings with decreasing enrollment, but it seems like most have some increases. The biggest increases we saw between 24 and 25 and this school year. The largest increase we had was at Country Trails, 22 kids, 67 additional at Prairie Knolls, and 101 at the high school. We did have a decrease over at Prairie View by 30. So on the aggregate, all the way across the district, we're up 133 students. So just for those of you that have been going through this and taking a look, we're doing an awful lot. Dan, to your point about the staff and the accolades, we're all the same. And so therefore, your staff has done a great job. Our teaching staff, administrative team is doing a great job with some near capacity levels. And that doesn't happen without people that are dedicated to the district. So just wanted to make sure the board is keeping track of these as we continue. And we won't do this every single month, but we tried to make it last December 1st and this December 1st to kind of give you guys a true feeling where it was. So this is more for information and to get it on the record so the people that might be looking at our board information will have that at their availability. So,
Thank you.
yep.
All right. Moving on to our information items. First is our FOIA report. Information for that is included in the packet. And the next is our superintendent search update. So we just kind of wanted to give everyone an update on where we're at with our superintendent search. So the last couple months, we have had 3 days of interviews. In those 3 days, we did 2 separate rounds. We had a committee of stakeholders that were involved in all first round interviews with us. And at the end of all of our interviews that we did, we have decided to extend our search. And the reason for that is we've kind of expressed before, finding a superintendent for us is a very daunting process. We have a massive decision to make, and we have to make the right decision, and we get one shot to do it. So we're really just looking for the right fit for our district, and so that's why we've decided to extend the search. What that means, and I've even learned some things over the last couple months, what that means is, generally speaking, from what I've learned, is that superintendent searches happen at 2 times in the year, one being the fall, which is what we were part of, and then another one happening in the spring. What we've done to try to change that a little bit and to try to stay ahead of the curve on how we're doing this search, we have a search firm that we've partnered with. We've reached out to them and essentially asked them to get us more candidates prior to the regular spring search. So in the next month, we will be looking hopefully before our January meeting, or maybe a little bit after our January meeting, but in January sometime, we will be looking to start interviews of additional candidates. Our committee of stakeholders will be involved in that process as well with us. But we just kind of wanted to give you an update. We did meet all of our deadlines as far as when we wanted to start our search, when we wanted to be done with that first round of interviews. And we're just looking to really find the best fit for our district, and we don't take it lightly. So we decided it was best to just extend our search. Did I miss anything on any of that? Okay. All right. Move on to new business, and that is the girls' flag football.
So here we have a recommendation. As you remember, Mike Sitter, our athletic director, was from the high school and the middle school, was here last month talking about flag football. I don't think Mike needs to come up unless you guys want to deliver another, but I think he answered just about all the questions last month. So Brett and Mike are here. This is very exciting for us to bring it forward. Mike, I don't know if you have anything you want to add.
I don't. I mean, I left it all out there last
Yeah.
month, but I just know there's a lot of excitement in the community, and hopefully we get a decision tonight.
Yeah, you did a great job with the presentation. It was very thorough. And the other information you also presented was very useful to the board as well, outside of girls' flag football. Yeah.
All right. With that, I need a motion and a second to approve girls' flag football for the 26-27 school year.
So moved.
Second.
And roll call, please.
Ward,
Yes.
Dogan,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Hurst,
Yes.
Mervinko, Pappas,
Yes.
Wasson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Wonderful. Congratulations, my night start scheduling.
More work.
Yes, also post the position, Matt. Great.
All right, next up is our agenda items for January. Right now we'll have another superintendent search update and our middle school schedules.
And I just want to remind the board, that middle school schedule, we originally, last month, you remember, we just found that 2.5 week turnaround was a little bit tight, and there was a couple more things that we wanted to have available to the board, because there's a few things with that middle school schedule. So we just wanted another couple of weeks to be able to vet that a little further. It's not going to be much different than what you've seen, but we just wanted to make sure we get this right, because it's important, and it's a possible big-ticket item in terms of an expense, and so we just wanted to make sure we did that. But Stephen and his team have done a great job, and the middle school principals have been on board, but we just want to make sure everyone on the committees sees what's going to be presented and gets it down. So it's only about a 14 workday difference between tonight and the January meeting, so it's not that long.
You guys want to share Triple I in January too, for those who went?
Yeah, you guys
Triple I
can.
things.
Yeah,
Either now or I guess in January, either way.
want to put it on there, or you want to do it now?
I'm good with either.
It's information, so it's not like we're voting on
Right,
anything, so it can be talked
I'm
about
good for
right now.
now.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
That's fine by me. So we went down to Triple I and I took some notes on some of the ones we went to. Ryan and I headed off to setting your new superintendent up for success for one of the sessions that we were at. I found it to have some good information, such as like setting up like a transition plan, having like the old superintendents finish strong and giving the lay of the land. But a lot of those things are what like Tim and Kyle would be doing with the old superintendents. There wasn't much to it as far as what board members would do. One of them was like having board members go around with the new superintendent to meet the community, to kind of maybe have some town halls so the community come in, going to the schools with him and things like that, or whoever the new superintendent is. Any other takeaways from that one that you?
I mean, that's where I learned about the 2 different times a year that the search,
Yeah.
that the searches
Yes.
go out, and kind of a little bit more about the process that we were already involved in. So it was kind of helpful to get some context and some information behind what we were right in the middle of.
Yeah, some of the other was just like logistics, letting this new superintendent know how we do our board meetings, what our expectations are on communicating with the community, and what kind of communications the new superintendent would communicate with the board, and how we would work that. So it's kind of letting them know how we run how our district runs and how we do things as a board. The other one that I went to, Ryan and I went to, was setting district goals and directions. And it started off with a mission statement, and then a vision statement, and then the goals. And within the goals, they said make them measurable, make them be able to kind of tweak them. They had an acronym of SMART: be specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. Generally give the boards general goals and have the superintendent make it more specific. They said to have the superintendent do the strategic planning, the SWOT analysis that we have done before as well. And that can include the community on the goals to drive the strategic plan. They said you could set them for 3, 5, and 7-year goals. So those are the ones that I went to.
That was a really cool
Anything else on
session
that one?
too.
That was a good one.
The way they set that session up, there was somebody presenting, but there was a superintendent and a board member from a different district that was in a very similar situation as what our board is in, as far as new board members trying to find a new superintendent. That they're just a couple years ahead of us, and so they were able to go through all the different nuances of what it looked like for that board to bring a new superintendent in, and then to work with that superintendent to kind of I guess just work together and kind of grow together and learn how to address a lot of different things that we've already had to address here. So that was really cool, because at the end of it, we were able to go up and kind of just have real basic conversations and ask questions and learn from a board and a superintendent that's maybe 2 years, a little bit, maybe 2 years in front of us, but going through the exact, very similar stuff that we're going through. So that was I got a lot from that, not just from the class itself, but at the end of it, being able to go up and, I think
We talked to the board president, yeah.
we talked their ear off because we ended up getting kicked out of the room because they had another class. But Danielle, did you want to add to any of that too? Because you were with us for that.
Yeah, I mean, no, you did a great job of how they talked about the board goal settings and the strategic planning, and how it's okay to change past practice to move the district forward. They talked a lot about that. I thought that was pretty important. Something else that I thought was pretty important is that they said to focus on speaking with one voice, which I think matters too. So
Yeah.
Do you guys all go to the same sessions then?
I went to a couple of different ones. That was the
Yeah.
one we went to together.
Yeah.
I went-
Scott went to a couple of different
Yeah.
ones, so he'll have to share in January what he did.
Gotcha.
I went to another one called The Art of School Boarding. And his whole premise on this, his name is Jim Burgett. His whole premise on this was just love the kids. He mentioned that quite a few times. Like, if you have people that love the kids, then you're going to move in the right direction anyway, which I truly believe too. But then he talked about taking care of your employees, seeing the good in everyone. He did say, like, for new board members like myself, he said, like, make sure you're always reading the code of conduct. He said, read one page a day until you know it to a T. Plan ahead and assess, and then plan to improve. And then vision with action changes the world is something that I highlighted on my notes. Vision with action changes the world. I also went to another one that was just for new board members only. And I thought that was going to be a session where they talked at us. And actually, it was a good session too, where they just actually said, we just want to hear from you guys. Do you guys have any questions? So there was a lot of questions in the room, and we ended up staying over actually. They were great questions, and we just got a chance just to hear from other people from different districts and small districts, larger districts. So it was actually, I had a great time. It was a great experience.
Cool. Thanks for sharing.
All right, at this time, we are going to move from open to an executive session. So could I have a motion and a second to move into a closed session?
So moved.
Second.
All right, the employment, resignation, compensation, discipline, performance, or dismissal of specific employees of the public body or legal counsel for the public body, including hearing testimony on a complaint lodged against an employee or against legal counsel for the public body to determine its validity, 5 ILCS 120-2 C1. And roll call, please.
Ward,
Yes.
Dogan,
Yes.
Gorman,
Yes.
Hurst,
Yes.
Mervika, Pappas,
Yes.
Wasson,
Yes.
motion passes.
Just so everyone knows, we have no action items after closed session, so if you didn't want to